Let me see here. Go dark soon. Let me get this here set up. Here. Can't really share it. On here. Let me see. If I create a post. Y'all forgive me for that. It cuts me off whenever you create a post. It's just so refreshing. Not refreshing, but it is refreshing to see. I'm gonna tell you something once we get this here situated. Hopefully my service is decent. Put this over there. Let me see here. Let's see. We early. Copy the link. Let's see. Getting this here situated on this here live. What time it is? 7 something. It didn't let me set the chat either. See, they still haven't updated that to where you can set your chat. So they still have that the way they had it, to where you can't just, you know, do all the adjustments, and then when you share it, it cuts you off. And so hopefully I got a good enough service and it's not too much of lagging on here. What is it, Thursday night? And that we able to put this up on my end. But I'm in the car, so what I want to do is go live versus recording a video and then trying to upload it. And it's real interesting too, and that's why I want you to be encouraged of how when you step out on your dreams and you step out to do what you call to do, you can't worry about the bumps in the road and the hiccups, because here we have a multi-billion-dollar company who has some of the brightest minds in the world, and they still not set up and structured in a way that's practical. Like, if they have a button on here for me to share the live, so I have to now, if I share the live to my community page or to anywhere, it shuts me off of the live. And so if I'm new to this, I'm gonna think that my live just glitched and that it's over, it's done. But when you go back to click the plus sign, like you're gonna upload a video, and then you click go live, then it pops up and says you have a live going already, resume or end. And so it cut me out as if I chose to cut myself out, versus allowing me to share it. It used to let me share it and the live would stay on. Now the live cuts off if I share it. But I say that to say, we get so hard on ourselves when we trying to build a business and build a brand, and we say, oh, my site's not right, or my email's not right, or my logo's not right. And we don't realize that this company's worth billions of dollars, still figuring it out. Been around for 2 decades and still figuring it out, still working out kinks. So never worry about what you lacking in what you doing. And I want to get this video out tonight. That's off the topic, but I always try to relate to real life situations. I want to put this video up for really for 9 o'clock, but my son get out of practice at 9 o'clock, so we're gonna have to go. But I've been thinking about this because we've been looking at this and we've been seeing this a lot with our relationships, and a lot of people are saying, hey, is love even worth it? Is love still real? Is love still a thing? Like, is it worth giving of myself and getting into a relationship. And first, what I want the singles to understand is, if you want somebody, we live in a day and time, and this is a choice that you have to make, but I'm gonna just keep it real with you. In this day and time, if you want somebody, you first have to address your packaging. Meaning, if you are a diamond, in a brown bag, you are going to continue to be overlooked. You have to switch to a Tiffany's box to get picked. Now, some people will say, well, Tony, it looked like some Tiffany boxes are out here, but they still single. Well, you still got to be a diamond in the Tiffany's box. So the Tiffany's boxes are getting picked, but when that stone get tested, if it is cubic zirconia, it get let go. So you have to understand that the main thing that's happening today is our society is turning people into diamonds in a brown bag or cubic zirconia in a Tiffany's box, instead of having a diamond in a Tiffany's box. Meaning, we need to get right. You have to get right inside and out in this day and age. It did not always have to be like that. And then some people say, well, Tony, I see some people that look a mess and they're in a relationship. They attracted what they are. So if they look a mess, the person they with look a mess. And if the person they with don't look a mess, the person they with open the box and realize they are a diamond inside of this here box. And that's why that person with them. And you cannot look at what other people have and what other people doing, because we never know the inner workings of other people's relationships. But what you have to be able to do is ask yourself, am I working on my 3 B's? Brain, brand, body. Do I have my 3 B's in order? Most people have 2 B's and they lacking in 1. It's a lot of people with the brains and the brand, and they missing the body. It's a lot of people with the body and the brand, and they missing the brains. A lot of people with the brains and the body, but they missing the brand. Brain, brand, body. You got to have all 3 B's to get picked today. The reason why we're not getting picked today, why people ain't getting picked today, is because of a microwave society. So when you are in a microwave society, people are accustomed to getting things fast and also being able to change things out fast. So people are accustomed to having a return policy and being able to get your money back. People are accustomed, and people are being bombarded by advertisements and by distractions. I seen an ad for BLK. Ironically, I coached a white woman who met a man on BLK, and she met a black man and he was trash. And I said, well, why are you on a black app? And she says, all kind of races on there. I say, well, that's where y'all setting y'allself up for failure, because the app is not for y'all. The app is BLK for a reason. It's for black people. So if you go on there as a white person, you going on there and you looking like a duck. If you go on there as a Hispanic, you go on there looking like a duck. Yes, we understand that people date across races, but if something is for a certain race, you ain't supposed to go on there. But she said all she attract to is black men. That's all she date. And then I told her, I said, listen, in America, it's going to be hard to find a black man that's going to take you serious as a white woman because of the history of the black man in America. Yes, you see it happen, but typically when you see that happen, it's from a black man who he's been called white, and they say he talk white or he act white, or he is looking to use a white woman. It's very rare is it organic. There are organic ones, but even those that's organic is typically a black man who don't really relate to the inner city black race. And so we also have to understand the dynamics of relationships. You have to understand compatibility. You can't just focus on what you think is chemistry, and you can't just focus on what you like. You also got to like what likes you, but you have to evaluate what likes you and why it likes you. And so when you evaluate what likes you and why it likes you, then that helps you understand that connection. So how the lady says she date white men. Somebody says she date white men. A white man who likes a black woman is typically one or two types of man. One type of white man that like black women is white men who was raised around blacks. So they kind of have an accent like a lot of black people. The other type of white man that like black women is a white man who is seen as lame or nerdy or corny to white women, so they become a prize to black women. The other type of white man, we'll go a third type, is the type who see a black woman doing good and got a good job and knows that most of her black male options are trash. So he goes and he capitalizes off of the fact that black men do not take her seriously and won't do right by her. The whole race of black men, especially black celebrity men, need to be thrown in the trash for the fact that Serena Williams had to get a white man. I'm not against that. God bless their union. But Common had Serena first and squandered it. Like, what is you doing, Common? Here you got a doggone strong woman. Body, talent. Yes, she might got an attitude now, but we don't know how she is behind closed doors. We see that attitude on that court. And yeah, she swing that racket at your head, you're gonna die. But still, how you get Serena Williams and you let her go? And now she had to go date outside her race because the black man that was dating her did not know how to keep her. And God bless the interracial unions, but for the people who are not in an interracial union, have to realize when you look at an interracial union, you got to evaluate it. And so Serena's look is not praised by black men because of the media's programming. When we get outside of the media programming, we could see that she's a beautiful woman. And when you look at what the media is showing us, it's going to showing us the same type of women. And then when you look at the man, he typically is not praised by his race. A lot of times it's individuals who have been taken for granted or mistreated. They then go to another race because you go where you celebrate it, not where you tolerate it. So that's what happens is a lot of times in this. There are some, but it is an exception to the rule where interracial couples is organic, pure love. A lot of times it's by force or it's by circumstance and not organic. Now, you have to realize, and I agree with Janine, because what I've found is that every woman got a soft place for their man. But a man got to get to that place and got to get outside of the box. But here's what we have to realize. You got to understand looks compatibility. The reason why a whole line of relationships are failing is because we don't understand compatibility and looks compatibility. People will say, oh, well, looks shouldn't matter in a relationship. It even mattered to a blind man. Y'all watch the Stevie Wonder movie or the Ray movie where he used to grab the wrist. If that wrist had too much bacon in there, he kept it moving. That wrist had to be a certain shape for Ray to want to put that pole on him. If that wrist had a little too much of the wrong shape, Ray was gone. And he couldn't even see. So you have to understand looks do matter both ways. A woman don't want a man that she's not attracted to. A man does not want a woman he's attracted to. But here's the problem. Humans, in a lot of cases, are not looking for love. Humans are looking for approval. So when you go to someone looking for approval, you do too much and you show yourself to be desperate, and you show yourself to be thirsty, and you do too much. And when you do too much, you get taken for granted. Because if you treat somebody like a celebrity, they're going to treat you like a fan. So you got to understand is you should not go to somebody that you look up to in the looks department. You need to go to somebody that you look at. Don't go to somebody that you are groveling at their feet because they got your tongue out your mouth. You need to be able to go to somebody and say, this is an attractive person. But you should not go to somebody and be like, oh my goodness, this is the most attractive person I've ever seen. Because if you're able to say that, that means you're not on that level. Because game recognize game. So if you got game, you're not going to be impressed. And if you got game at the highest level, and relate this to sports, when you got game at the highest level, you can respect somebody game, but you're not finna be overly impressed by nobody game because you on that level. But when you could look at somebody and you just groveling and you just, oh my goodness, oh my goodness, oh my goodness. Like nobody has made Michael Jordan say, oh my goodness, oh my goodness, oh my goodness, because he's that guy. So you have to understand this in relationships. If you go to somebody and you constantly licking your lips, licking your lips, licking your lips, and you just losing it, that relationship is going to destroy you. Because that is idolatry. You need to be able to look at somebody, not up to them. You need to be able to look at them. And so you got to understand that. You got to first understand the compatibility, the relationship compatibility, okay? Then what you want to understand after that is you have to understand, see, we don't address our childhood trauma. So we bring our parents' issues or our caretakers, guardians, or our guardians' issues into our relationships today. So when you bring your daddy wounds or your mommy wounds into the relationship, you then start to treat your partner like you dealing with your parent. And you're having a response to your parent, even though you're not with that parent. And when you get beyond the parents, then it's our exes. And we're responding to the present based on feelings from the past. And this affects our relationships greatly because we're not responding to the person that we're with. And we are shell shocked and we operating based on what we have gone through. So if we saw a parent be very controlling in a relationship, then we become controlling in the relationship. Or on the flip side, we feel like everything is controlled, and so we lash out against this person who is just communicating and asking of us a normal request in a relationship, but we are taking it as control because we grew up with somebody who was controlling. Then what happens is, on the flip side, we then go to a place where we are defensive. So we either are emulating the behavior that we seen, or we are reacting to the behavior that we seen, even though it is not present in this relationship. So I see a lot of women who grew up in a two-parent home where their mother was a homemaker. Now, I thought that was somebody who built houses, but that means a stay-at-home mom. And the women who grow up and their mom was a homemaker and their dad was controlling or inconsiderate, I noticed that a lot of those women despise women who are homemakers because they feel like they are weak, they feel like they are insignificant, and they feel like they are less than. So those women then do a lot of preaching about having a career and having your own money, not realizing that the only reason they feel that way is because their dad was toxic. So instead of realizing their dad's toxicity, they are daddy's girls, so they feel like their dad could do no wrong, and they're mad at their mother for not having a backbone. But what they don't realize is that if their mother would have had a perceived, what they call a backbone, then they wouldn't have had that mother in that house cooking and cleaning and serving and cleaning up after them. So they mad at their mom instead of understanding it was their dad that weakened and broke their mama back. So instead of looking at dad like, why didn't you create a safe space? If you want to have a homemaker, why didn't you, if you want a kept woman, why didn't you do the keeping? Meaning, why didn't you take care of her emotionally, mentally, spiritually, and financially? And then on the flip side, what happens is a lot of men, we look down on the woman who is not making money. So we treat her less than, and by treating her less than, then a man will tell his daughter, always have your own. And he tells the daughter, always have your own, because of how he knows he treated the mom. But if he treated the mom, y'all got to forgive me that loud siren. If he treated the mom with love and respect and like an equal partner, then he would be able to tell his daughter, he would be able to believe that his daughter could be treated with respect and loved as a homemaker. So when the lady says, my mom always told me to have my own, or my dad always told me to have my own, It's because he knew that her mom was marginalized by him. So he didn't want her to be marginalized by another man who may very well be the same as him. So then he takes and puts her on guard and on the defense to then be against her husband, to be at war with her husband, because he told her to always have your own. So then she will marry her career and then have children, and she wants to be everything for her children and everything for her career, and you can't be 100% in two different places at the same time. And so that's another reason why our relationships fail. But it literally comes from upbringing. It literally is all childhood trauma. Is us not being able to rest in our masculinity and our femininity, and us not being able to understand that there's nothing wrong with roles, and those roles could be different, but you define the roles for your relationship and for your household, not based on your parents' household. So we take the past and bring it into the present, and that's why it is said that a person is made up, the history and the biography equals the makeup of a man or a woman, their history and their biography. And so we have to renew our mind and renew our spirit, and we have to redefine what we know to be love and also a healthy relationship, instead of just living based on the imprinting that we received as children. And so we are failing in relationships because we're not present. We're not present. We are in the past, and we're bringing the past to the present. And we do not value each other. So men and women have to come to the place that we fully respect the opposite sex, and that we value the contributions and the uniqueness of that gender. So men downplay how divinely and wonderfully created a woman is, and women downplay how divinely and wonderfully created a man is. But if we can have a mutual respect, and we can stop pedestalizing ourselves and then demeaning the opposite sex, then we will come to a place where we can have a mutual respect and we can build on that respect. But men will minimize a woman's contribution to, oh, all she does is cook and clean, not realizing that there is no man in the world that can give birth, and that there is no robot that can give birth to a human. But yet we minimize a woman to cooking and cleaning, when a robot can cook and clean, but a robot cannot conceive, carry, and birth a human. But men, we will minimize the contributions of a woman. And even if a woman cannot have children, there is still no robot and no man that can support and nurture the way a woman is, because of how her brain is wired. And then a woman will look at a man and minimize his masculinity and not realize the unspoken impact that he has on children, and how children take and respond to a man who is present and healthy and whole, and it changes their life by his presence alone. And a lot of women will ignore the fact that their child will spit in their face, but then kiss the ground that their father walks on, and he's not even in the home as much as the woman. because he may be out working a lot, and that child will respond, and that child will give that father credit and respect, and a woman will forget the value of a man. And we do this to each other. So if anybody, when you coming in, I already spoke on the other side. So if you catch one side of it, that means you missed the other side. So we gonna have some people that come in late and they miss part. Oh, well, talk about this right here. That go both ways. Hush. And so we have to understand this, that we have to have a mutual respect. And so when we have this mutual respect, now we're able to build. Now we're able to say, hey, you do something that I can't do. And when we both can say, you do something that I can't do, you are priceless. You are irreplaceable. When we have a mutual respect for each other, then that's when we're able to build. But one of the reasons our relationships is failing is we minimize the contributions of one another. And so therefore, when you don't have gratitude, then you can't have growth. So a relationship cannot grow if there is no gratitude in the relationship. And we always tend to think that the neighbor has a better garden. And what we don't realize is that if the neighbor has a better garden, it's because they spend more time in their garden. So men assume that there's a woman better than their woman. And women assume that there's a man better than their man. And instead of the two of them having a mutual respect and then working together on their problems, they look outside of the relationship for somebody else to solve their problems. And they think that if they go to somebody else, those problems will be solved. And this is why we fail. See, we don't look within, we look without. And when we look without, that's where we lose it. And so we have to come to a place to where we say, okay, what can I do? Because what you have to understand is that energy does not die. It transfers. So what I mean by that is, when you come into the space, you shift, you affect the atmosphere, because you are matter and you matter. So when you change your mindset and you change the way you move, it naturally, it has to, by law, affect the way your partner moves. But if you don't move a certain way, if you're not changing and you're not doing anything, then your partner not going to be able to change. See, if you reinforce the negative, then that's what's going to repeat itself. So you got to understand that, because when you shift, things shift. And here's the thing. A lot of times what we do wrong in a relationship is we wait on our partner to change. We tell our partner what we want them to change, and then we wait on them to change, not realizing that our actions cause a equal or greater reaction. And so where we fail at is by us not changing and instead waiting to be changed for, the relationship fails. Because if someone is not affectionate, they're not affectionate because they did not receive affection. So if you tell them that you want affection, and then you wait for them to be affectionate, but they do not know what affection looks like and feels like, but you don't exemplify the affection because of your pride and your ego, and you're waiting on them to be affectionate, then the relationship is going to fail. But if you want affection, then you have to give affection. Because when you give affection, you then make it okay for them to give affection. You then exemplify and show them how affection looks and feels. And so this is what you have to understand. When you change, your situation is going to change. So that's what you have to realize. Now, what happens is, and S, don't come in here mentioning people and then get blocked. If you're on my page, this is about my teachings. We ain't talking about nobody else's teachings, and you applying stuff that's out of context. Because this ain't talking about changing nobody. This talking about changing you. And so if you come in here and shut up and listen, then you'll hear the whole message, and then you'll hear everything come together. So if you coming in here working for Satan to cause distraction and confusion, you're going to get blocked off the whole channel. So when you come in here, you saying amen or ouch. This ain't going both ways, and we ain't arguing and debating. I've been married 16 years, and my wife changed me, and I changed her too. And we changed by changing ourselves. So don't come in here with the foolishness, or you're going to get blocked. So this is what you have to realize. When you change, the situation change. And when the situation don't change, that's when you change your situation. Meaning, that's when you exit the situation. Because when a person loves you, they're going to change. But see, this is what we don't realize. Is you can't deal with a human. You can't deal with every human the same way. Because for some people, they were raised so cold that they don't know how to be warm. Some people was raised so hard, they don't know how to be soft. But what you have to realize is that love conquers all. So love conquers all. So what that means is you have to learn how to speak love in different languages. Because some people only felt pain. So if you come too soft, and you don't know how to have tough love, you don't know how to have direct love, and you don't know how to reinforce love, and you don't know how to exemplify self-love, then what you then do is you reinforce their self-hate. So what a lot of people think changing someone means, they think that means tolerating their behavior. But when you stand up for yourself and you are consistent and you stand on what you stand on, now you let this person know that you are not going to bend or fold for them. And by not bending or folding for them, they realize that no disrespect will be tolerated. And by you not accepting and tolerating disrespect, you teach them how to treat you. And what you have to understand is that some people were not raised. They just grew. So some people do not understand instruction the first, the second, or the third time. But they understand demonstration. There's a difference between instruction and demonstration. So when you demonstrate by removing yourself from the situation so that they realize that what they are doing will not be tolerated, they then know they need to leave or they need to change. And when they fake change and then they go back to who they were and you leave again, no matter how much skin you got in the game, they then realize that they cannot fool you, they cannot play you, and that you will move on with your life. So that's what you have to realize. So when you come to that place, you start to understand that everybody can change. A cheater can change. A liar can change, but they have to know that what they are doing will not be reinforced. It will not be tolerated. And so when you leave, they then learn that they will lose you. And when they learn that they will lose you, now they realize that who is after you won't be better. But if they don't want to grow and change, all that means is that that is not your person. That you are trying to love someone who has their love language, because love conquers all. So there's different people. There's different people who can reach different people. So you have to understand that you won't be able to reach everybody. So when a person won't change for you, meaning that your influence won't encourage them and influence them to change on their own, then you don't speak their language. And it's somebody else, and it's a lot of times the person right after you that speaks their language, and you got to be okay with that. So here's the thing. There's a push and there's a pull. But in this push and pull, what you have to understand is you have to have standards. And you have to stand on your standards. You have to stand on your standards. So the person has to know that there are things that you will not tolerate. These standards also can be called boundaries. So now you have these boundaries. You love them unconditionally. You love them with everything that you have. But when they do not reciprocate, you do not reinforce. You do not reinforce what they won't reciprocate. So now they learn, I either got to put up or shut up. And when they come to that place to realize that, because here's what you got to understand. If a person was raised cold, they don't know how to be warm. If a person was raised hard, they don't know how to be soft. If a person was raised soft, they don't know how to be hard. So what you have to understand is that some people, they only know destruction. Some people only know brokenness. And if it's not broken, they want to break it, because they only feel at home in brokenness. It's just like those of us who we come from nothing and not really having anything, so we don't know how to be with something. And our comfort is having nothing. So if we got $1,000 in the account, we have to find something to spend that $1,000 on, because we're so used to having nothing that we don't feel comfortable with something. When we're so used to toxicity, we don't feel comfortable in peace. I remember being told about a study with a monkey who they took the monkey mama away and they replaced the monkey mama with this a live video, Angelica. And when they say live on that, I mean it's live, Angelica. Just let you know a little bit something about YouTube. Now, when they say premiere, that means that it's pre-recorded. But when they say live, that means it's live. And so, see how I'm responding to you? That's live. 1, 2, 3, 4. This live, okay? Sometimes that's hard to believe when somebody ain't got no note cards and they just talking to you from the Holy Spirit. This is what you call the Holy Spirit flow. So understand this. They showed the monkey and they took the monkey mama. They replaced the monkey mama with an identical monkey. But the monkey mama, the doll, had nails on it. And the baby monkey went to hug the mama. And although the mama had nails on it, the baby monkey kept hugging this fake monkey with nails because it thought it was its mama. So what you have to realize is that when somebody only know pain, that's all they want. And until they receive love long enough to where the love washes away the pain, the same thing that Jesus Christ did for those he died for. Until the love is continuously poured out in the form of grace and mercy, and it washes away the pain, that's when a person can accept it. So another reason why our relationships fail is because we give up too soon. We give up too soon before we've even really been hurt. We give up before we didn't even really went through anything. And then the first sign of going through something, we run. And it don't mean that you sit there and you get beat down and get beat on and all of that. It don't mean that. Don't mean that at all. But what it does mean is that you endure and that you work and you try different things, and the person that you was drawn to, that you learn how to speak their language. And this is what you got to understand, is because of the microwave, because of the smartphone, because of streaming services, because of fast food, we are spoiled. We spoiled. Girl K Adam, God bless you. And so we run too fast. And what we don't realize, see, there's a spirit that is peaceful and patient. But when you're not tapped into the spirit of Christ, when you're not tapped into that spirit, you become impatient, selfish, and greedy. So what happened is you don't recognize spirits. So when you in your relationship and you going through turmoil, you going through trials and tribulations, the adversary sends somebody who looks like a savior. The adversary sends somebody who looks like a tall glass of water, and you feel like you in the desert dying. But because you're not tapped in spiritually, you don't understand that all you are going through in your relationship is spiritual warfare. And what you fail to remember is that whenever a spirit was called out of someone, it was spoken to directly. So when you shrink and you refuse to speak to the spirit, you refuse to look at the spirit and say, hey, listen to me. You going through. You are struggling and you are being tested and you're taking it out on me. I am here for you and I love you with everything in me, but you are making me your enemy. You are making me your opponent. Hey, listen to me. You are making me your opponent and you are hurting me. You are taking out spiritual warfare physically. See, when you speak to the spirit directly, the spirit got to respond. But see, what we do instead is we internalize. because we do not understand the power of God. And that when we pray and we confess and we call the spirit out, when we don't understand the power of God and praying and confessing and speaking aloud to the spirit, we internalize, we cry, we mope, we complain, and we war internally instead of giving it to God. And then tapping into the power and the confidence of God and speaking to the spirit. See, for those of us who have been embattled with spiritual warfare, how many times have someone you love looked you in the eye, and said to you, hey, hold on. Stop everything. Listen. Slow your breathing down. Hey, listen, I need you to hear me. And I need you to hear me clearly. There is a spirit on you, and you are at war. And what you going through, I don't know what it is, and I can't tell you that I understand it fully. But what I can tell you is that I could see it and I could feel it. I could see it and I could feel it. And you are taking it out on me. And I need you to understand that I am your ally and not your enemy. That God placed me here, not for you to destroy me, but for me to help you and for you to help me. But right now, you are abusing me as if I am Satan. And if I hurt you. See, when have somebody who loves God and who loves you said that to you? See, when you speak to that spirit, you're going to call that spirit out. But see, somebody who not tapped in to the power of God does not have the confidence of God. With the knowledge of the Lord comes a strong confidence. Proverbs 1:7. So if somebody ain't tapped in, they're not going to operate in confidence. They're not going to operate in power. Instead, they're going to shrink. And when they shrink, the devil going to send a band-aid for their wounds. And they're not going to see that the devil that's being sent to them is 10 times worse than the devil that they battling right in front of them. And that's why our relationships fail. Because we go within instead of going to God. And instead of walking in love, instead of speaking the truth in power, instead of speaking to the situation, we go about it the wrong way. And when we go about it the wrong way, then we easily deceived. Because somebody come up and they pretend, see what the adversary is a Decepticon. The adversary can wear masks. The adversary can wear different faces. And they come up and they look like everything that we do not have. They look like an answered prayer. If a man is battling spiritually and there's some things he don't like about his woman, another woman with a Jezebel spirit is going to come and she's going to befriend this man. And this could go vice versa. So understand everything I'm saying, vice versa now. Gonna befriend this man, and she's gonna say she cooks every day. The woman ain't cooked in 3 months. She ordering out, she bringing the food to work like it's leftovers from what she cooked last night. And the man don't even know that the lunch she brought him come from the restaurant. He thinks she cooked it. but she is desperate and lonely, and she heard in conversation that his wife or his woman don't cook. So now all of a sudden she's a cook. His woman don't clean. All of a sudden she hate messes. She despise messes. She always got to be clean. She didn't even clean her body last night. But she finna make this man think she the cleanest woman in the world. So here this man is, don't realize that he dealing with a Decepticon who is trying to trick his woman out her spot and get in the spot. And then when she get in the spot and she get her claws in them and she get the money and she get to quit the job like his woman who don't gotta work, and she jealous of her, she finna become 10 times worse than what he thought his woman was. And vice versa. The same thing happened. A woman, she at work, or she bump into a friend, she bump into an old fling, she bump into somebody, she go to talking about her relationship. Oh, he always leave the toilet seat up. He only bathes twice a week. He never helps around the kitchen. He's not handy. He doesn't know how to put anything together. He forgets to take out the trash. But what she failing to realize is that he's faithful. He's faithful. He ain't putting hands on her. He's providing for her. But because he can't build a house from the ground up, because he forget to put the toilet seat down, then here come this man. Oh yeah, I just built this. I built this this table yesterday. She's like, what? You could build a table? Wow. My boyfriend or my husband couldn't build anything in a million years. Then he come back the next day. Oh yeah, last night I cooked some beef stew and rice with some cornbread and put a little spinach on the side. What? You cook? Oh yeah, I cook all the time. I have to cook every night. I like to eat clean. Her man got a dad bod. He don't cook. So now this Decepticon then came up, and all he want to use her for is the money she got access to. He want her to help him with his kids. He want her to use her credit on him. He want to tap into that savings. So he finna pretend to be everything she said her man wasn't. And this is another reason, and remember, everything I'm saying go both ways now. This is another reason our relationships fail. Because we don't understand that the grass is never greener. The grass is never greener. All grass gonna have parasites. All grass gonna have a snake at some time. All grass gonna change colors if it's real. All of it. You will be better off learning how to pass the test that's in front of you than asking somebody else, can you have a test? Because every test gonna have a question that you got to learn how to figure out how to solve. So you got to realize this. And when you realize that, your life gonna be changed. So listen, if you missed any of this, get this here on in your spirit. Get this on in your spirit. And listen to this twice, 3 times. We coming up on an hour. My son get out of practice in 10 minutes. So I'm finna pull on up here and use this good restroom. Get on up here by this gate when he come out. So yeah, get this here on in your spirit. And listen back to this, because you remember, you got to listen to my videos when I'm teaching like this here. You got to listen to them about 3 times. Because when I say a sentence, your mind start to remember your relationship or your experience, and then you miss the next 3 or 4 sentences. So what you want to do is listen to it a few times so that when you process one sentence and you done process that and you miss the next 3, the next time you listen to it, you're gonna catch that sentence that you missed. And you're gonna be like, oh, I didn't even remember him saying that. And that's just because of how the mind works. That's just because of where your mind went while the video was on. So understand that right there. And but hey, God bless you. Thank you to everybody in the Blessed Tribe. For those of y'all who not in the growth group, that's our monthly group coaching. It's on TonyGassisAcademy.com. I'll put the link in the description, so you'll see it later. It's our monthly coaching program, and where we have at least one call every month. Sometimes we'll have 2 and 3, so bonus calls. But by next year, I'm planning to move away from one-on-one coaching and be doing the group coaching, so that we can have a group learning from each other, supporting each other. And that way I could give more time to creating, you know, books and courses and other tools to help. And so we'll be doing the group coaching. So they got to practice early tonight. So God bless y'all, and we'll talk soon. Oh, and today,
yeah, I got the drive home.
yeah, boy, you finna kill me. And so yesterday was my son's 16th birthday. So on Tony Gassis's Academy, you will see $16 courses. Now, normally what I do when I do a birthday sale in honor of my family member, I get him the money, but he's sitting in the money, so the proceeds going toward his car.
What did I just hear? Where you mentioned?
Yeah, you heard it. The proceeds going toward his car that he got yesterday that we sitting in. So
you rocking with the Rant Whip?
God bless you. Okay, dope. Got the drop top. Okay. God bless y'all. We'll talk soon. So go to TonyGassisAcademy.com and you'll see the $16 courses. Get your life right. God bless you. Everybody say happy birthday. And if y'all sent him a cash out, I did give it to him. I was gonna charge him a surcharge, but I did give it to him. And there was a few, 2 or 3 people sent him a cash out, so he did get that. But hey, God bless you, and we'll talk soon. Here go this thing. It was doing this yesterday, where it say front passenger airbag off. And it's like when you get in the seat, for some reason it don't recognize you. Got to get that figured out.